Duke of Sussex and singer Ed Sheeran have teamed up for World Mental Health Day, and they're urging people to look out for anyone who may be suffering in silence. Footage shared on the Sussex Royal Instagram account starts with a spoof between both men, with Sheeran declaring that he is there to write a song to raise awareness for people like us. To talk more about mental health now, we're going to bring in Dr. Daniel Bober. Dr. Daniel, thanks for joining us now. You know, the thing about mental health is that there's still a stigma. No matter how much we try to sort of talk openly about it, there's still a stigma, and there's such a wide range of things that fall under the umbrella. I think sometimes people don't even realize that what they're dealing with is a mental health crisis. So what is the biggest misconception about mental health?
I think the biggest misconception of people that have mental illness or in the public is the fact that people who have mental illness have some sort of character weakness or defect, that it's something they can snap out of or control. So if you're not someone with mental illness, you find it very hard to relate to someone with mental illness, and often you judge them for being weak or, not behaving in a way that they should to snap themselves out of it, so to speak.
Yeah, and often they judge themselves, too, in that way, which is
Absolutely.
why they don't seek professional help sometimes. You know, it's interesting that we've got the Prince they're taking to social media to announce this partnership because social media has often come up when we talk about mental health issues, particularly depression and anxiety. It can help and it can hurt, right, Doctor? What role does social media play when it comes to mental health disorders?
So there is a link between depression and social media. So we find that people who use the most social media on the upper end of the spectrum tend to be the most depressed people. And the reason is that these people become socially isolated. So their only outlet of communication is on social media. Also, they view images of other people's lives, this sort of what we call FOMO, or fear of missing out. They wish that they could have the lives that these people have. And, when you talk about women and eating disorders, they see these idealized images that have been totally airbrushed and filtered. And so I think that affects self-esteem as well.
Now that you can sort of tap into your social media account at the end of your hand on your smartphone, it's easy to sort of be compulsively checking that stuff over and over again and getting all this negative messaging or messaging that can be harmful. On the flip side, there are a lot of mental health apps out there that are designed to be helpful. Are they?
They are helpful, particularly in depression, mild to moderate depression. There have been some randomized control trials looking at apps, particularly the ones that focus on what we call cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness, that have been shown to be very helpful in depression. So from that perspective, social media or using your phone can be helpful.
One thing that I think is really good about the conversation in regards to mental health and maintaining a healthy mental state is that other things beyond therapy and a pharmaceutical drug have entered into the conversation. You talked about meditation and stuff like that, but also diet. What role does diet play in mental health?
So this is a very interesting area in psychiatry. It's called nutritional psychiatry. And there is epidemiological evidence that people that have a healthier diet tend to be less depressed. So what are we talking about when we say a healthy diet? We're talking about basically a Mediterranean diet. So fatty fish, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts. People who adopt this type of diet tend to be less depressed and more mentally healthy.
A bit like that Mediterranean diet, and all roads sort of lead back there, whether it comes to your cardiological health or clearly your
Absolutely.
mental health. Yeah, that's a really fascinating conversation, Dr. Bober. We should have you on again to talk about that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.